Okay, I want to call this meeting of the Executive Committee of the East Ascension Consolidated Gravity Drainage District to order. Today's November 16, 2006. Since we've been meeting here for about 3 hours already, the prayer and the pledge from the previous meeting still apply. So we're going to move into item number 1, and that is to consider the hiring of a general manager for the drainage district. I think Mr. Rue provided with you some information. Well, yeah. I'd like to call Mr. Mike Paterno with URS. He presented some information about the proposed qualifications and duties of the general manager for the East Ascension Drainage Board. Mike, could you come? And by the way, if anybody, there's some additional copies up here if anybody would like one, right up here in front of me.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, before we start, may we ask that Mr. Paterno maybe read this and go over it since we just received it? And
sure. That's what I just asked him to do.
Okay, excuse me. Thank you.
Gentlemen and ladies, based upon your request, you recall at the last meeting we went through and presented our best understanding as your project manager, engineering project manager. What we would see is the issues as far as the organizational chart, general manager, some of the key issues that would have to be addressed in moving this thing forward. In addition to that, and in preparation for the meeting tonight, we've researched several different parish drainage departments and the types of qualifications that they seek in general managers. More specifically, another parish of similar size, such as Baton Rouge and Jefferson, more keyed on Jefferson, similar to the same duties that would be performed here. And just kind of going through those qualifications and appointment of a general manager drainage department for the East Ascension Drainage Board would include general manager to be qualified by a 4-year degree from an accredited college or university, degree in engineering, and current registration as a professional engineer in the state of Louisiana, plus 5 years engineering experience in the design and construction management of drainage projects, or 5 years minimum equivalent experience with a public works agency or consulting firm, and 10 years experience in the design and construction management of drainage projects. Appointment would be the general manager drainage department shall be appointed by the East Ascension Drainage Board. General duties would include to be responsible for drainage control of stormwaters, to include canals, pumping stations, locks, all related structures within the boundaries of East Ascension Drainage Board areas of responsibility. To direct the personnel and field superintendents in planning and implementing drainage and flood control system project schedules. Assist the East Ascension Drainage Board in establishing scope of work and design criteria for drainage capital projects. Direct engineers and consultants regarding department project scope and design criteria. Inspect the operation, maintenance, and construction projects. To provide department policy and management guidance in all areas of drainage pumping station operations. Evaluate department operations for all areas of drainage and pumping stations, and report to the East Ascension Drainage Board on drainage department performance. Coordinate budget formulation activities for the drainage department. Coordinate annual 5-year capital project budget and review and authorize expenditures. Direct the department in formulating and evaluating operating policies, programs, and procedures, and effective and efficient job performance. To prepare reports on departmental operations, evaluating performance against established objectives, and special reports on operating problems or plans as required. 11, prepare policy statements and plans for the department under the direction of the East Ascension Drainage Board. 12, have responsibility for the administrative management of operations and maintenance for all drainage department facilities and pump stations. And 13, perform other duties as directed by the East Ascension Drainage Board. We've also researched the salary ranges for this type of position. Again, more coordinated with Jefferson Parish, as that was the one that is more akin to what you guys are doing. Currently, the salary range for this same position at Jefferson Parish is $60,000 to $90,000. Commensurate with experience, a more experienced person obviously on the higher end, someone new with minimum qualifications on the lower end.
Thank you, Mike. Questions?
Yes, I do have a question, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Paterno, I see a couple times in here we have years minimum of or of equivalent engineering experience. Give me a definition of engineering experience. Or should we strike engineering and have experience?
To have engineering experience as far as dealing with consultant engineers on a daily basis, the budget review, and looking over the shoulder of design projects on capital projects, experience as far as the construction management of these capital projects, as far as whether it be pumping stations, canals, the experience of someone that is in Public Works or has had that similar experience outside Public Works, perhaps for a contractor doing those same duties.
Thank you.
All right. I think one of the things that we were tasked with was if we need to decide upon this, and so that we can go forth and advertise for this position. And I believe this executive committee was given the authority by the Drainage Board to come up with a job description and then go forth with the advertisement of it.
I'll make the motion that we accept this job description.
Second.
All right, Ms. Fontenot has a motion to accept the job description as presented to us by Mr. Mike Paterno. It's seconded by Mr. Shakesnyder.
Including the salary range.
Yeah.
Yes, and that would include that salary range. Do y'all have? Are you good with that? Is there any other discussion on that, Mr. Byergy? You happy with this? And Mike, this is a job description that has come from. I mean, essentially, it's what other parishes do.
This is standard for other parishes. As I said, it's more akin to Jefferson Parish. Y'all met the other day, Mr. Herb Miller. He was more familiar with the fine details in that parish, but very reflective of what you're trying to accomplish here. Yes, sir.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Is there any opposition to the motion? Then the motion passes, and we're going to adopt this as the qualifications, the job description, and the salary range of our drainage manager. Mr. Shakesnyder?
And I thought within this task would be to put it out so that people could apply for applications, and I would like to, with that, put this out for applications as a job opening.
I'll second that.
All right, Mr. Shakesnyder makes a motion that
Whatever time frame that we normally use.
that this job description, this qualification list, and the salary range be put publicly, and the position be advertised for. And I know there's a legal procedure that we follow in advertising for positions, in posting for these positions, because we also post them in-house. So,
As per legal responsibility.
Yeah, I do have a question. You know, today's what
today's the 16th of November.
16th. So if we can, when would be the deadline to get it in the paper? I'm thinking ahead because we have a drainage board meeting the first Monday in December. Are we looking to hire somebody by then or by January? So, I mean, it makes a difference in how long we advertise for it. I'm just throwing that out there.
Could O'Neill give us a standard?
Mr. Parent, I mean, this is not like it's an ordinance. There is no.
No, I think
there's nothing set forth in law that tells you how long you have to advertise this position. And but you're right. We ought to set a deadline on it. Is it realistic and conceivable that this can be put out and people can submit applications, and then for consideration and a vote taken at the drainage board meeting? I think not. I think we'd be lucky if we voted on it in the January meeting.
I would like us to take a look, and we could close the applications at the first drainage, the next drainage board meeting, and then we would have time to vote and at that point in time, and then appoint either a special
Well,
meeting
yeah,
or the
because
next meeting.
obviously we have to interview.
Right.
You know, after so we need to have a
So,
closing point so that we have an interview time.
I think that day would be a good time, and we could take the names in and at that meeting, and then proceed with the proper interviewing.
Miss Heather, do you have the date of the next drainage board meeting? I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I know that that next week are the Thanksgiving holidays. I believe Mr. Byerger is going to be out of town. I'm sorry, it's December 4th. December the 4th. So essentially, we have next week is Thanksgiving week, and then there's the following week, and then we'll meet on as a drainage board. Is that a realistic amount of time?
Might have to have a special drainage board meeting, maybe.
I think for accepting
By the
applications,
15th?
that's How, Neil, that's...
I don't have. There's no requirement. I think that this could. You still have an intergovernmental agreement today with the parish government where they could do it through the Human Resource Department. That's what my suggestion would be, because there's no legal requirement. You're looking to hire somebody.
That would give you over 2 weeks to just advertise. I mean, that's just taking names.
Okay, so where we at? Did you make a motion on? We made the motion to go ahead and advertise it.
Yeah, we made the motion to advertise. We were just discussing when the cutoff date would be, and I just thought it would be a good idea to cut it off at the next drainage board meeting so that people would know who would be applying, and then we could set a criteria for interviewing the applicants and proceeding to hiring somebody.
All right, and while we're at it, where are we going to advertise this? Well, obviously, we're going to advertise this in the local newspapers.
The Gonzales Weekly,
and the Ascension Citizen.
Do both.
Yeah, I would say this is not a legal journal issues sort of a thing. I would think you'd want to advertise it in the Baton Rouge Advocate.
Yes.
Get it on the TV.
Think you'd want to advertise. Well, I don't know about advertising a job over television, but I would think perhaps the Times-Picayune. Am I missing something? We have some members of the Fourth Estate out there. I mean, we obviously want to cast as wide a net as possible to make sure that we have the most qualified person.
Right.
Correct.
I think all Ascension Parish papers and Baton Rouge and New Orleans papers would be sufficient.
That would be a good coverage area.
The regional papers, the Baton Rouge Advocate, the New Orleans Times-Picayune, the Gonzales Weekly, Ascension Citizen,
and the chief.
And I see, just out of respect, Mr. Todd Lambert, and the chief. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Todd Lambert is our drainage chairman. And out of respect to you, sir, I mean, you happy with that? Is there?
Yeah.
All right. So all that's in that motion, huh?
All that's in that motion.
All right, so we're going to run that. Okay, let's clarify this a little bit because I want to make sure that I've got it. You're going to run it in every day in the Morning Advocate, or are we going to do it in the Sunday paper? How do we want to do that?
I would think, Mr. McConnell, that especially the Advocate, because they have a classified, that it needs to be for the 2 weeks in there, and then just in our normal.
I think because of the brief time period, because of the shortness that we're looking at, put it in the Advocate every day, and then put it in the next 2 issues then of the Citizen and the Weekly,
and the chief,
and then we'll.
And that would be sufficient.
Yeah, we did. We said the Advocate and the Picayune. I'm not aware of any. Mike.
Make a point. It would be easier for me to send an electron copy to whoever that y'all can forward it on to take more meetings for them.
Sorry. Yeah, and that's fine. Mike will forward that so we can send it out electronically. It doesn't have to be retyped, reset, or anything like that, huh? Okay, any more discussion on that? Then is there any opposition? Then that motion passes. Mr. Scheck, Ms. Fontenot made the motion. Mr. Scheck-Snyder seconded it. Okay, well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be.
Mr. Chairman, the rest of the agenda is pretty much contingent upon the hiring of an administrator.
Well, and thank you for saying that. I was going to suggest that with the lateness of the hour, we've all been here a good long time. These other issues are not pressing issues. There's certainly things that we're going to have to deal with, and we're going to have another meeting of this executive committee as soon as possible. And I'm going to recommend that we'll try to schedule one the week following the Thanksgiving holidays. Maybe we can meet one more time and talk about this so that the week before the next drainage board meeting. Mr. O'Neill Parrington.
Yes, sir.
If we defer action on this, wasn't a published agenda, so if we defer action on the remainder of the agenda items, we're all right.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, then we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Good job.